Do you miss the good old days when a truck was just a truck? No turbos, no hybrid power, no suspension seats? Well, this 2025 Nissan Frontier is exactly what you're looking for. My name is Jimmy, and welcome to something a little bit more old school. And something else is Nissan also want to give you options. Yes, you got trim options, but you got two different cab sizes and two different bed lengths for whatever you actually need your truck to do. Not them telling you what your truck needs to do. And it's pretty much the same in here. I mean, you sit in this and you know exactly how to operate it right away. There's a lever, a button for basically everything. You don't really have to dive into a screen for something. I mean, there's so many buttons that it's kind of complicated in here. Like on the left side here, there's really more buttons than it actually should. And to be honest, they could be organized a little bit better. But luckily, you can take those switches out and reorganize them as needed. I went online and there's people that's modifying, the placement of these buttons because, they're just a little dumb from factory. But it's fine. It's a very old school Frontier vibe because it is old school. This really hasn't been updated in a very, very long time. And you can tell by the older steering wheel that you have in front of you. The buttons, they work, but they're not the current Nissan ones. The gauges, they're not the current ones, but it's fine. You have a digital screen in the center that can show you your speed, your temps, and a whole bunch of other things. And then 4 analog gauges on the side. It's basic. I mean, the 12-inch infotainment display that's in the middle, it's far from basic, and it has been updated. But switching back into the Nissan menu and the right side really isn't all that useful. Sure, you can have a clock or route directions and whatnot, but it doesn't really expand the entire screen. It's not only until you go into CarPlay or Android Auto where the larger 12-inch display does actually come in handy. And I do like it. There's wireless CarPlay, and that's been working really well for me. There's some physical buttons underneath for your volume knob and tuning knob. It's all there. Climate control, it's all there for your dual zone climate control. Heated seats, no, you don't have to dive into a screen for that. There's an analog button that you can leave on low or high, all season around. Everything is right there, and it's just simple. The seats, there's no four-way lumbar support. There is power lumbar support, which is nice, but that's it. You don't even get that on the passenger side. Back seats, they're a little cramped. I'm 5'11", I fit, but I definitely don't have the most amount of space. You do get some USB ports and an outlet in the center, but that's really it. No vents, nothing glamorous. Even the rear window doesn't have defrost lines. But the cabin isn't that big. Just crank up the heat and you should be A-okay. I mean, these lights look like they're from the 90s. This feels like it's from the 90s. And it drives like it's from the 90s because, if you go online and you just search Frontier heavy steering, you're going to get tons of posts exactly, why is this steering so heavy? But then everyone's going to tell you, it's because it's hydraulic steering. Now, that's not wrong. It is hydraulic steering, but that's not the reason why it's heavy. They tuned it to make it heavy because a hydraulic steering can be made lighter as well, and an electric power steering can be made heavier. So that's not exactly the truth out of it. There are so many posts online telling you exactly why. The Frontier is the way it is. It's old school. Hydraulic power steering. Naturally aspirated 3.8 liter V6. It pumps out good power. 310 horses and 281 pound-feet through the 9-speed automatic. It's not bad. It's more than sufficient around town. It's not wheezing. It's not out of breath. And it's a V6, so it actually makes decent sound when you step on it. There's a little bit of that intake noise, a little bit of that growl. It's kind of nice. There's no snorkel on here, so you don't get a bunch of intake noise, but you know what? It's definitely better than a traditional 4-cylinder sound would. And if you really want the maximum performance, you can enable sport mode, Now you'll be looking down here and where's sport mode? Well, Nissan has implemented a very manual way for your sport mode to step on that sport mode. You want eco mode? Lightly tap the throttle, then you get eco mode. No, Nissan has not implemented any sport mode or eco modes or any sort of drive modes in here. No, there's no terrain response or anything like that. The only kind of manual off-road mode you get is, well, your 4x4 switch right here. It's a part-time system, so on a sunny day like today, on dry roads, not going to enable it. But you can go 4 high, 4 low. You can even enable the rear diff lock, but that's a button right down here on the bottom, and that's just, well, not the best place to put that switch. I've said that before already. But that's it. It's a basic utilitarian type of vehicle, and it drives like it. Not only is the steering heavy, but like, it's pretty disconnected. It's not like super weighted up that you actually feel every corner. So it's not like gonna give you any sort of amazing driving vibes. The suspension is on the firmer side, I would say. You do feel more bumps and whatnot, but because of that, payload's not bad. And you can tow like 6,800 pounds on this for, well, a long wheelbase quad cab V6 mid-size truck. That's not too shabby now, is it? As tested here, this is the Pro 4X luxury model. So the luxuries include, laughable, but there's leather seats that are heated, which really isn't that amazing. I mean, Nissan makes some really good seats, and these are just ordinary. They're quite narrow, so if you have a wider frame, you're not going to be the most comfortable in here. But it's fine. It's a mid-sized truck. You're not going to have the biggest guy that's going to be buying this, right? This is for someone that maybe a little bit smaller, like actually physically smaller, and wants to take it on those smaller trails. And the narrower body helps with that. You know, it doesn't feel like it's absolutely massive, other than the fact that this is a long wheelbase with the long bed. So like, you know, turning circle does feel absolutely massive. But, you know, driving it around, it's not bad at all. But because it is old school, there's downfalls, right? Suspension, like I said, it's firm, and that's just the type of suspension it is. You got leaf springs out back, no coil springs in here. And since it is a hydraulic steering rack, you don't get, well, the lane centering that some other manufacturers give you. So when you sway out of the lane, it just vibrates the wheel, and that's it. It doesn't even try to brake the other wheel to help you get back on track. There's none of that. You do get adaptive cruise, which is cool. So like, it can tell how far the vehicle is in front, and you can set that. But because of the sensor, the front plate is now moved to the lower chin, and it's just such an odd placement for it, because that just kills the approach angle on the truck. Yeah, you can move the plate, but find a better place for it. I mean, Nissan couldn't. Aspect here, it's just under 60,000 Canadian. You can pick up a base model for like 50,000. I mean, yeah, it's definitely not dirt cheap. If you want a dirt cheap truck, sadly, you can't really get that these days. I mean, Maverick is kind of dirt cheap, but once you stack on a few options, the Maverick gets pretty pricey as well. This, I mean, for 60,000, it's not bad, because if you compare it to the Tacoma, which everyone likes to compare it to, a TRD Pro is like 85,000 Canadian. A TRD off-road, which is more comparable to this, I would say, that's like 62, I think. So it's still a little bit more than the Frontier. Sure, that's hybrid power and all that jazz, but there's people that just don't want that. There's people that want exactly what, well, the previous gen Tacoma was, which is this manual power stuff, and, well, just, let's be honest, maybe a little bit more robust as well. In any case, let me know what your thoughts are. Would you pick up a Frontier? Are you afraid of the Frontier because you had a 4-liter before, and, well, you know exactly what you're afraid of if you had the 4-liter before? Because sometimes, for magical reasons, coolant and engine oil tends to mix. But that was a long time ago. This is new. Hopefully it doesn't have the same problem. Check back to this video in 10 years and see what happens. In any case, let me know, comments, and yeah, take care.